Hello and welcome to another episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Bryce Shoemate from Hardin County Government, and as you all can tell, today we are on location at the Hardin County Animal Care and Control Center, and Mike McNutt is our Animal Care and Control Director here. And Mike, I know that you have got some great things going on in the last year here at Hardin County Animal Care and Control.
We recently hired a vet, which we'll be meeting her in just a second. We have all kinds of programs that are going on. Our numbers are at an all-time high for our existence. We're very fortunate for the changes that have taken place.
But now, Mike, I know one thing that I want to make sure is that everybody understands that Jessica has been in surgery today, and so I know she's mad at me because I brought her out here when I didn't give her a chance to make sure she was dressed up, I should say. But you got to remember, this is an active animal location where we are performing surgeries on our animals that come in. And you know, we've got things going on here every day, and so I didn't want to embarrass Jessica, but I want to make sure everybody understands that today that she has been in surgery today, and we're very lucky to have Jessica with us.
Just to give you a snapshot, you know, Jessica started with us on October 15th. She has done 528 surgeries total, and 125 of those were return to field cats. We've already seen a major decrease in our numbers coming in the door.
Now let's talk about what return to field cats are, because folks that are watching our show today may not quite understand what you're talking about.
Okay, well, here in Hardin County, there are two different types of cats. There are owner releases and there are community cats. When you come in, we fill out some information with you. If it's deemed a community cat, we spay and neuter it, ear tip it, and return it to the property where it came from. Now, what this does is it keeps other cats from moving into that territory, because the bottom line is there is a food source there. Cats will come from miles around to get to that food source. The only thing that will truly keep them away is another cat.
But you're also doing this to keep the population down as well. That's why you're doing the spay and neuter program.
Yes.
With these cats, because we've had an explosion, correct?
Yes. Our numbers for cats coming in the door were at an alarming rate. We were euthanizing up to 1,500 cats a year. We're not doing that anymore. In December, we only euthanized one cat, and it was due to serious injuries. We will not return a cat to the field that is injured or sick. If we cannot get them well, we will alleviate their suffering here.
And before that, before you all started doing that, you had people bringing in all kinds of kittens, cats to you. I mean, absolutely overloading the shelter here with cats.
On a daily basis, sometimes as many as 40 to 60 cats in 1 4-hour period of being open.
Unbelievable.
So, and that was every day, well, 6 days a week.
And there's no way to take it. We don't have enough room,
No.
for one thing, to take care, and we don't have the ability, the food. I mean, it takes, a lot of people don't realize how much resources and money that is for your program.
Yes, we have people that spend the first 4 hours of their day cleaning this building, cleaning, looking, and visiting with each and every animal here. When you've got that many cats, it makes it so difficult to accomplish. But with this new program and with the help from Alley Cat Advocates and Target Zero, there's no charge to customers for it. They get their free spay and neuter, their surgeries, and their return to field. They're not reproducing, and they're keeping other cats from moving in.
And we're going to come back to what you're talking about there with the monies that you're getting in. But let's introduce Jessica to everybody, so Hardin County can get to see our new vet here at the Animal Care and Control.
This is Dr. Jessica Partridge.
Jessica, we are so glad to have you in Hardin County, and folks may not realize this, but you've got a military background.
I do.
You just came to us from active duty, correct?
Correct. I was in Japan the last 3 years, Okinawa, Japan. I was in the Army for about 6.5 years. My first assignment was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. After vet school, I went to Michigan State. That's where I'm from, but my husband's from Louisville, Kentucky, so that's why we're back here. Awesome. We are tickled that you all have settled back in this area, but we're more tickled that you've come down to Hardin County to help us out here at Hardin County Animal Shelter. Now, tell us a little bit about some things that you have going on here at the shelter right now. Well, right now we're kind of playing catch up from before
the holidays.
Yes, we had a couple of great vets that came just twice a week. They were retired or close to retired at the time to do our surgeries, and now we went from 2 days a week to 5 days a week surgery. So it's a big increase. So we have a lot of pets that have been adopted out without being spay or neutered because of time constraints, and now they're coming back. So we have those that are returning to us. We have those that are still coming in the door as far as owner turn-ins and stray dogs. And then we also have our return to field cats that we're doing. So right now we're kind of playing catch up. We're getting all of our ducks in a row for all of the kind of standard operating procedures we want to do here to reduce illness and things like that.
And that's one of the reasons why we're having today's show. I know we have had a warmer than normal January. This is not normal for Hardin County at all to have this kind of weather. And so I know that one of the things that we want to talk about today is making sure that people are somewhat winterizing not only their pens and their houses that they keep their pets in, but doing things and watching for things with their pets, correct?
Right. Yeah, so I have a list here. I just want to make sure that I hit it all. The biggest thing that honestly I didn't even think about when I looked this up was that you have to feed pets more in the winter if they're outside.
So they can build on that fat layer, right?
It's colder.
I guess that must be what I've done is I've built on that fat layer, so
But
I'm good for the
You
winter.
live inside.
Yes, yes, I keep telling myself that. But I'm sorry,
Oh,
Jessica.
that's okay. So yeah, so it takes more energy to stay warm when you're shivering, you know, if it's cooler, things like that. So you need to feed your pets more so that they don't lose weight and they have enough energy to stay warm. For outdoor houses for your dogs, you need to make sure that they're up off the ground. That's something a lot of people don't know about. If they are right on the ground, even if there's nice bedding on the ground, the cold ground will sap away the heat from the pet. So if you insulate that by a few inches off the ground and then give them nice dry bedding like straw or hay. Make sure it's dry. Wet bedding is not going to keep them warm. Make sure that you know kind of where the winds are coming from in your area and place the door away from the winds.
And should that straw or bedding be changed out every so often or only if it becomes wet?
If it becomes wet or if for some reason there's soiling in there or something like that.
Right.
But if it stays clean and dry, then it should be okay.
Okay.
So I think Mike is going to talk in a minute about good cat shelters for outside for some of the return to field and community cats. The other thing is cats like to get warm places, so think about the hood of your car. They'll crawl up under the wheels or sometimes into the engine. They'll get injured when you start your car. So before you go, we recommend kind of banging on the hood, maybe honking the horn to give any cat or other animal that's in there time to get out of the way.
Yeah, we found that out the hard way and ended up with 2 cats at our house from church no less, you know.
They climbed in there.
Yeah, they climbed up in my wife's vehicle, rolled all the way home from church, and
Yes.
we rehomed 2 cats, kittens.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean,
They'll find the warmth.
it is. It's very much the truth, and people don't realize
Right.
that.
And some are safe, like yours made it all the way home.
Yeah, I don't see
Some-
how, but they did.
Some aren't so lucky and they're injured or even killed by the engine, or they fall out while you're driving and then they're run over.
Right.
So give them a chance to get out of there. Also, making sure your pets have collars with your contact information and microchips. So it's cold sometimes, they might, you know, get lost or run away, and you want to make sure that they get back to you. Every pet that comes in here, they get scanned for a microchip. Obviously, if they have a collar with your information, we can, you know, get a hold of you. And not everybody has a microchip scanner. If your neighbor finds your dog, they're not going to have a microchip scanner.
So
it's
is that
good to
one
have
thing that you all are doing here is anytime that you adopt out a pet, you're microchipping them as you adopt them out, or?
All of our dogs are microchipped at the door. Cats, not right now. It's, you know, it is costly to do. We have events that we hold for vaccination clinics and where we give rabies shots and we offer the microchip. This past year was the first year we offered a microchip, and it was our largest one ever. A lot of people came
For
in.
cats and dogs?
Well, the microchips for whoever, but
Okay.
when you adopt from us, you can request a microchip for a cat, and it adds a $20 cost. But with those numbers, we just can't afford to do microchips.
I'm afraid to tell Kim, that my wife, that you can microchip, because she may microchip me just so she knows where I am.
Kim, you know how to get a hold of it. So, you know, our officers, and I don't think people are aware of this, you know, we don't want the animals in the shelter. Hardin County doesn't need other people's animals. We have plenty of animals that need our help. So if we pick up an animal in the field and it has a rabies tag or a microchip, and we can track down the owner, we're going to return it to you in the field at no cost if you're not a repeat offender.
And Mike and Jessica, I think something that folks need to know is we're not out picking up pets just because we love to pick them up. We're picking them up for their safety.
Yes, and because of their safety, and we exist for health and public safety. That is our main goal, is to take care of that problem. So when we are picking up the animals, it's because we're getting calls that they're either causing a problem or they're in harm's way.
Right.
If we do patrol troubled areas that have a high number of call-ins, but as for going around looking for people's animals, that's just not what we do.
Right. That's a cartoon. I mean, you know, that we're
And it
it
is a county law to have a dog license. You have to buy it every year. And if that tag is on there and we can return it to you, we're going to. And that's going to save you probably $80, you know, just a one-time RTO fee and what it costs to board. So it's really worth it to make sure that your animal is identifiable and we can track them down and get them back to you.
Jessica, going back to some of those tips that you had earlier, can a dog or a cat actually, like a human, get frostbite, get damage to their body from cold weather?
Absolutely. And that's why it's important, you know, if your pets live outside, to make sure they have the proper housing.
I think sometimes people think because they have fur on their body that insulates them enough that it won't bother them. You know, much
it
like
definitely helps.
Yes,
but,
okay.
But it's depending on how cold. You know, like you said here, it's been warm, but it's going to get cold again.
Sure.
Probably in 2 days it'll be in the 30s again. So the other thing to remember is if you do bring your pet inside to bathe it, that you don't put it back outside until it's completely dry, because a wet coat is not going to be very insulating for your pet. It needs to be dry. Other things that we may not think about is antifreeze. So there are some antifreezes now that are pet friendly, meaning they won't poison them, but regular old-fashioned antifreeze is very yummy to dogs and cats. It's very sweet, and it will cause kidney failure very quickly with not that much intake of it. So if you have antifreeze, try to get the kind that's pet friendly that won't do that, or keep it locked up so that your pets or stray pets won't get into it. The other thing to think about is your pets that go outside is the harsh chemicals and salts that are put down to deal with the ice and snow, to maybe wipe their feet off or their belly off, because that can irritate their skin if they're exposed to
if they lick their paws, you know, like animals have a habit of doing, can that salt or that de-icer actually harm them as well?
It could, depending on what kind of chemicals are in there. So keeping an eye on that and wiping their feet and bellies off.
And that's something that a lot of people wouldn't think about normally, because I mean that's second nature for us to do that, you know, in the wintertime.
The other important thing is to make sure that your pets have water that isn't frozen outside. So we know it freezes really quickly, so either change it frequently, or they do have bowls that actually plug in and can keep them from freezing too, if that's something you're able to get. Probably the two more things. One is we know about hot cars in dogs and cats, but it's kind of similar in the winter. Depending on how cold it is, some people think, oh, it's not hot, I can take my pet to the mall or wherever and I'll leave it in the car for 4 hours. Well, that might not be a good temperature for that pet to be at that long, so just think about that. And then the other thing is not really pet related for their safety, but for our safety, if your pet does fall through the ice, I know it's really hard, but it's recommended not to try to save them, because usually you end up going through the ice as well, and a lot of times the pets are able to get out and then the owners drown. So if you notice that your pet is in that sort of trouble, call for help, but please don't go on the ice to try to get your pet.
And that's a great point, because I know we've all seen the videos here lately of different fire departments or rescue squads that have gone out in other states and rescued animals that had gone through the ice. So very, very important. Thank you for those tips. Mike, I know that you had some tips on a shelter, and we're even talking about putting it on our website so folks could look at that.
Yeah, I'm holding the sheet right here, and basically it's for the outside cats. Cats really can't exist without us, but they deserve a little bit of help. You can buy the plastic totes, turn them upside down, cut a hole in them, and then maybe put a styrofoam cooler inside. Throw some straw in there to insulate, and at least gives them a way to get out of the elements.
Yeah, my three cats tell me all the time that they're good by themselves until they want treats, and then they depend on me quite a bit. So.
Right. Well, treats. They have treats out in the wild too. They just got to work for them. So
Mine don't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
So
So we will be posting this on our Facebook and on the county website. It gives you directions on how to build one yourself. They are pretty cheap to build. I mean, you
and
know, if
I
you
know
do-
the last time we had this show, you actually had things that you used a tote and very inexpensive. And folks, those totes are, since it's after Christmas, putting Christmas items away, those totes are very easy to find now.
Yeah, and they're on clearance right now. I found that out this weekend. My wife actually made me buy one, and you know, it took me maybe an hour to get it completely done. I take a lot of breaks, so I would say probably 25 minutes, and you can have it done. All you need is something to cut the plastic with, and then I just put the styrofoam cooler inside of it and cut a hole out. And I have a cat that lives outside. Unfortunately, haven't got to see him use it yet, but it's there for him if he needs it.
Right. Well, it's been 50 and 40 degrees. So, I mean, but you know, the real thing is, in Kentucky, weather can change rather drastically overnight. And so, you know, about the 18th, 19th, 20th of this month, folks, we're expecting a flip to this weather. We don't like to hear that, but that's what's going to happen. And so winter weather is just around the corner, and it's going to be back with a vengeance, and it'll be very rough on our animals.
Just the best thing I would tell people is, if you think it's cold to you, it's cold to them. Not as cold, but still cold.
Absolutely.
If you think it's hot to you, it's hot to them.
Mike, if folks that are watching our show today have some questions, is there a number that they can call or an email that they can get a hold of you by asking some of those questions? Because we may have not answered everything
that'd be
today.
fine. I would tell them to go through Facebook. Look, it's Hardin County Animal Shelter KY, because there is other Hardin counties. We found that out the hard way.
Yes.
But if they will just look that up, then they can post questions there, and me or Doc or one of the other employees will answer those questions for them.
Awesome. And with today's times, everybody looking at Facebook, that's probably much easier.
It's a lot easier and faster for us to respond that way.
And I know that in the past, folks have been bringing pet foods down here to you.
Yes.
And you had said that right now you all are in pretty good shape.
Yes, what we do is we share with the other rescues in the area, so that, you know, because everything has a shelf life, and we don't feed anything past its shelf life here. So we help by giving to the other places when we get it in.
So people, if they want to drop off pet foods here,
Right.
You all will still take it, but you may be sharing with other agencies
we just
as well.
You know, bringing a donation to us is for the animals of Hardin County, and we make sure it gets used for the animals in Hardin County.
And I know you've even told me before that if people came in and said, I don't have any food to feed my animals, have you helped them out too?
Oh, yes, yeah. If you're having trouble, please come in. We help when we can. Right now, we can afford to send home a bag with somebody. So we help at the back door. And if that's the problem with why you're needing to relinquish your animal, please call us. We'll work with you on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we thank you and Jessica, thank you so much for all that you're doing. I know that you're very busy, and we're going to let you get back because we're going to take a quick break and be back with our Deputy Judge Executive and Mike here in just a second. And we want to come back with our Deputy Judge Executive, Daniel London, and Mike McNutt. And we're here in the cat room. You know, it's kind of cool because here at Hardin County Animal Care and Control, we've got some rooms that you can come into. This is the cat room. There's a puppy room next door. You can hear them barking right now. But Daniel, I know that as we stand here, a lot of the cats and kittens that we normally have, we're not having because we're doing our neuter and our spay program. So that's really cut our population down. And I know we had talked about our public-private partnerships with Animal Care and Control.
So when I came on board as Deputy Judge Executive about 14 months ago, Mike and I were one of the first to sit down and talk about some of the issues with the animal shelter and animals within the county, stray animals. One of the large issues has been cats. So for example, Alley Cat Advocates in Louisville has estimated there are 50,000 stray cats surrounding the county, in the county surrounding Louisville. And that's projected to triple within 1 year. So obviously that's going to become a huge problem. So we have community cats within Hardin County. They actually colonize, which was a learning experience for me. I didn't realize that. So return to field, basically what we do is we capture those cats, or someone from the community brings those to us. we spay and neuter them and then return them. Now that's the end result of what we have in this program. But getting there, one of the linchpins that Mike and I knew we had to have in the strategy was a full-time veterinarian. So to do that, obviously, as the viewers understand as taxpayers, the county is running on a very austere budget, which is great news for taxpayers. That's the way we want it, and that's the way we lead. We had to come up with that money some way, somehow. We pitched our vision to stakeholders here in the community, and this is the first public-private partnership that we've had as a county here with the animal shelter and funding the veterinarian. So the veterinarian is largely being funded by stakeholders within this community. Those coming together is Focus, or Friends of Hardin County Animal Shelter. They're providing a large portion of the funds. Steve Park, who owns Honey Baked Ham here in town, made a sizable contribution, as did Mark and Patty Jones, who own Jones Auto Group, also made a sizable contribution, as well as Pets Are Worth Saving, which is run by Dee Dee Lehman, Best Realty, and Diane Schaffner of Sam Russell.
And they've helped us out in the past as well.
They have. They've been tremendously
so.
well. This building is a reason of some of those that I named.
And
this
our
is
mobile
state of our
center
facility,
too.
Mobile center. So we've been able to establish great rapport with these stakeholders and supporters, and they've come together, help us solve a key problem here within the community.
You know, we applied for a grant with Target Zero and Alley Cat Advocates. We actually were evaluated as to what we were doing right and what we were doing wrong. We were doing a lot of things right. I don't want it to make, you know, that we weren't. There were a few things we just had to tweak a few hours here, and, you know, a certain way we handled animals when they came in the door. We did the evaluation. We had a visit from the representative from Target Zero, and they told us, well, here's what you need to do. We made those changes, and we qualified for a grant. There's 5 counties involved that get this money, and it's not broken down into this county gets this much or this county gets this much. It's whoever can move forward and use it the quickest. Well, us having a vet made it to where we can really go through it quick and help the county in a great, you know, fast, effective manner. So we're probably one of the highest ones that are receiving that money, which we like very much, because we're putting out a healthier product out there, and it's cutting down on the animals for next year. So it usually takes about 5 years before you see a significant difference, but just after 2 months, the difference has been amazing.
I know we this place, like we said earlier, it was running over with cats and kittens.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that in itself has made a major difference, just to not only do that, but to educate our public.
Well, like I said earlier, she's done over 500 surgeries since she's been here, and 150 or so, or 180 of those have been return to field cats that, you know, may have at the time been pregnant, and that's why we're empty right now.
And you know, what a lot of people don't understand is a cat can have several litters in a year, correct?
Yes, and they can produce at 4 months of age, and then they never experience menopause. So they can produce until they're 20, 22 years old, and keep having baby after baby after baby.
So I mean, the population explosion, like you all were talking about, could happen just like that.
Yes, that's why we need to be fast and effective with what we're doing, and we're already seeing a difference. So
now, are y'all doing some catch where you all are actually catching some of these cats in the colonies, knowing that maybe they may not be close to a residence where they're living?
Well, there are trappers that are in Hardin County that have been trapping before we ever started our program. I met with some of those people, and they have a standing offer to bring in once they catch them.
Awesome.
We had 6 come in yesterday, and those are cats that would have been reproducing had nobody caught them and brought them to us. But yeah, we have a relationship with them, and we're working diligently to accommodate them and make sure that they leave happy, and they've been tickled with us. So.
Awesome. Daniel, I know that you all have been working on this for the last several months, because this is not something that has happened just overnight.
It's not. It took a lot of strategic partnerships, took a lot of whiteboard time, as I told Mike, us etching out exactly where we want to be. And again, we knew from the beginning when we dug into this, having a full-time vet was the key to make this happen. Because before that, we were relying on 2 part-time vets that just came in and gave us a few hours a week, which they were wonderful, did a great job for us. But you can't get the volume that way that we needed to get there. Now the back end of that, for the taxpayers, what's important is we're going to be able, particularly in an austere budget environment where we're facing a pension crisis here in the state and the county is having to contribute another $250 additional each year to the pension issue. We are now $250,000. We're in a situation now to where, as a result of Mike's work and these stakeholders stepping forward, this is one of the organizations that's going to rely less on general revenue funds as in previous years as a result of these steps. So we're really excited about that. It cuts our budget.
And Mike, I know that you had talked earlier about this being a moneymaker, and I know that you need this to keep yourself afloat because it's hard to find funds to support things. So
yeah, I mean, animal control is necessary, and you have to have animal control. A lot of people think you can adopt your way out of it. That's just not true. I mean, if that was the case, we wouldn't have homeless animals. So the best way to do it is to try and maybe subside your costs at the back door before they come in, and that's what we're trying to do. Our job is health and public safety, mainly with the animals that are running at large. We will help out with owner releases when we can, but our main focus is going to be the stray population and getting it under control.
Well, gentlemen, thank you all for being with us, and thank you for all that you're doing, not only for our county, but to save tax dollars and use them and stretch them as far as you can. Folks, if you have questions or you would like to adopt an animal, come on down and see us here on Peterson Drive at Hardin County Animal Care and Control. Our folks here at Animal Care and Control would be glad to assist you in finding that new friend that you need to share your life with. Thanks for joining us here on Hardin County Education and Community TV as we keep you informed on what's going on throughout this great community, but more especially what's going on in your students' life in the Hardin County school system. I'm Bryce Shoemate. Thanks for staying tuned and watch out for the winter weather.